Hi, this is PJ. You're in my study. Amen. Our discussion today, and I'd love for you to leave comments, and so that I would be able to respond to your comments as you leave them. You know what? I thought about it. We call Tuesday Taco Tuesday, right? Well, what do we call Thursday? We call Thursdays I made it over the hump. But the inevitable question that I have for you today, my dear friends, is what is it to be normal? I have to think this way because people are always talking to me saying, well, the other night I went to after a meeting with some men, I went to a bar. And when I went, much better. And when I went to that bar, I met about 8 people that I didn't know. Stayed out till about 1:30. Had a great time. I don't drive anymore. And I got to tell you, I had three. I did. I had three tequila martinis or something, and didn't fall out. Didn't lose my mind. My heart is better. My physical condition is better. Uh, when I was out at the meeting, I'm talking about what's normal. I met some attractive, attractive men, knocked me off my feet. They said, John, you look great. And these are men that I love. It's normal for me to say that I love men. I just, met some beautiful women. They were lesbian women. And I told them a little bit about my life story, family life, and whatnot. They treated me like a king. It was beautiful. They treated me better than church folk did if they differed with you. I don't want to be normal anymore. I want to be me and live. All right, you, what's normal to you?
I don't believe normal for me is what I habitually do every day.
Normal for you is what you habitually, by habit, find yourself functioning, thinking, going that you do every day. That is normal for you.
Yes, and I am also cognizant of the idea of normal, which is to go to school, get a job, get a good degree, get a job. But I can't speak for the older generations, but in this generation, that is not. Uh, it's not normal for a lot of people to be doing that. A lot of people are becoming successful different kinds of ways. Um, that doesn't require doing anything negative. It's just other routes to becoming successful. Um, some people, they're just running into the right people at the right time. Some people, they're taking trades. Some people going to school. Some people are just starting businesses up. It's just a matter of you doing what I guess you feel compelled to do. Um, so in that context of normal, I don't think normal necessarily exists. I think it's an idea that we all tend to chase, but in reality, life shows us that there are certain experiences that are going to be unique to us and also important for our success in moving forward in life.
Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. Why do you think people my age or younger find it hard to think that way?
Why do people Um, why do I think people your age find it hard to think that way?
Why? Yes. Why do older people? Why do the OGs find it almost impossible to caricaturize in their heads that concept, that idea? Why do you think that people my age think that what you just defined is abnormal? Why will we come to that conclusion? And I'm asking that question to see if you understand where we're coming from. Because if you can't answer that question, then the argument's over. Go ahead. Oh, and this is a smart cat. He thinks.
I think that social differences. I mean, if you look at the 1960s and that time, that was when black family was thriving. You know, it was more common or more normal to see, you know, black family constructs, marriages. People were going to the military. There weren't as many options as it is in today's world. I mean, you can hop online and make money now. You can hop on Netflix. You can hop on Amazon Prime. You can hop on Hulu. You have choices that I don't think the older generations had access to. So it may cause them to be untrustworthy. Uh, the new ways their kids or grandkids are going about achieving progressiveness.
What if the electricity got unplugged? What
Um,
would your normal look like then?
I mean, it'd be a matter of survival. I mean, a water and power job relies on electricity too. So I mean,
No, I'm just being realistic.
I don't think that's realistic. I think that that is playing with ideas. It's like, well, what if, what if, what if? But what if it's not reality?
And that's what my question is, young smart man. What if what I say comes about? You know, I'm a doomsday theorist. I believe that the worst is inevitably going to happen before my dog heard a pussycat outside.
Um,
Yeah, see if you can
I
answer
think you
that.
used an interesting word, and that word is belief. And I would encourage people to not operate in a place of belief, but operate in a place of knowledge, because
Ooh.
belief can be detached from knowledge in the sense of I can believe doomsday
To
that arrive.
operate not in a place of belief. And I understand that because if you say you believe something, that's the anchor that holds you together. And if that belief that you are anchored in changes and you haven't gotten used to maneuvering outside of that belief system, you aren't going to survive when the environment changes
Yeah.
because your belief system is what holds you. That's what I've been trying to say ever since I had this YouTube live going, because I am now living my normal. What I believe is good, I'm not shattering it, throwing it up against the rocks. I am equating my here and now to my reality, not someone else's belief system reality.
Correct. And even in
Yeah.
doing that, it would not be helpful to oneself to just hold on to belief without having valid reasons, not only their own reasons, but also looking at the world around them and educating themselves in their environment so that they
Right.
can have well grounded beliefs on life.
Yes. You can castigate all of the belief systems that all of us has been taught. You can dash it up against the rocks because we're waiting on something to transpire in our lives to prove that our belief works. Now, this is what frustrated me away from that. I
Mhm.
still believe in ethical, decent things. If I saw a man beating a child, I would step in. Oh, I love sitting in front of the Lucy Coleman studio. If I saw a man beating a child, I would step in to protect the child. That is my ethical. But if I saw that this man was crazy, deranged, had blood coming out of his eyes, and an axe in his hand, would I defend the child? Probably
Yeah,
not.
especially if you don't have any weapons,
I don't have any construct to do that. So I would say, call the police.
Yeah,
You see what I mean?
your belief on what to do is grounded on a realistic evaluation of the situation versus just impulse. I just gotta save the child. You don't have no weapons. Now you gonna
Right,
die with the child.
right.
You know.
Yes. It would be two deaths instead of one. And maybe by your backing off, that would deter the insane man from doing the improbable. All right. So you think everyone should dump belief and embrace? What if, how do they embrace their own self identity? That's a great question because I knew a lot of people that knew me prior to me telling them who I really was.
Mhm. That's an interesting statement. Knew me prior to them telling me who I really was.
Yeah. And they didn't know, they did know me, but since they have nothing to do with me by their own volition, it proves that their relationship with me was ingenuine.
Or it was in relation to the person they thought they knew before you told them who you really were.
Why did that change since I'm the same person and I've never changed?
Two things. Either you're not the same person
Hmm.
or they were fake. But I wouldn't jump to fake. I think that I don't know. I ain't gonna make any assumptions, but I would explore that
Okay.
more instead of assuming that they were just these ingenuine negative people. I think maybe they did have a genuine love for who they thought you were, like you said before you told them who you really was.
I'm a
Before,
different kind of a person. If I had a friend like that changed in midstream and say, you know what, I'm not going to follow this anymore, and he would be my friend more because I would want to know how did he come to that.
and that's you, but there are other individuals who may not like who you really are now that you are communicating who you really are, so they move away, and
But that
that's
has,
fine.
but that had nothing to do with who I was and how I was that shaped my life.
Okay, let's be less abstract. Can we
Okay, let's be
pinpoint
abstract.
less
All right,
abstract?
we're on YouTube Live. You can join us if you want to.
What is it about?
What is normal?
Okay, yeah, I'll join you.
We'll bring in another chair so you can sit in the studio, and we're live now. So
Stay live. I was just dragging it a bit.
yeah, okay. Yeah, see what is normal. There's a fold-up chair on the porch that may fit right in here.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you referring to your pastoral career?
No,
What are you referring
career
to?
had nothing to do with it. I have always been John Coleman. I've always had a love for people, a sense of humor, and a strong ethical value about me. And I just happen to love men. So just like inviting Mario to sit in on this thing.
Okay, but were you?
I've always been that kind of a personality.
Yes, but like you said earlier, before you told them who you really were, could it be possible that you were that person in these spaces, but you weren't explicitly that person in these spaces? Because, like the statement you made earlier, before you told them who you really were.
I have always been the person that I know I've always been. I separated my career, okay, from personal relationships.
Okay, So the person may know you from a career standpoint, but not know you from a personable standpoint. And them knowing you from a personal standpoint, they may not like that because who they known you as a career person was what they liked.
You have to jump in this conversation at will. Mario, who are you? And what are people to?
That's a hell of a question.
Yes, it is. Who in the hell are you? Because listen, if you did like I did, showed them for my entire career, the books are behind me that proves it. Everything was about he said, she said, they said, history says, he says, she, and then I adopted that as a belief system. But then as I got older, I trashed a lot of those belief systems and said, wait a minute, I'm going to think this through on my own. One of the beautiful things that I had enough health to do, because I remember the day I met you in my philosophy class. I mean, man, I remember the day. Did you know who I was then?
How could I know that?
Oh, God.
No, really.
That's a valid question. Because you think that you were, maybe you're thinking, I could be wrong, that you were easy to be read. And that probably wasn't the case. Who you thought you were being was not reality. Sometimes we have intentions, but our intentions don't always match our impact. I could think I'm being nice to someone, when in reality, I may be hurting their feelings.
You take away one's individual free. That's what's going on when it comes to the teachings in Florida and DeSantos and all of that. Critical race theory and all that. The reason that some people don't like critical race theory is because it erases their capacity to be free and independent and to hold to the things that brought them happiness. So, is it a fact that if I say to you, I believe in certain aspects of critical race theory, but I believe that the parent of the child should choose whether they want their child to be indoctrinated by these new books that are coming out, which are telling the truth about other people. It's telling the truth. But in this country, see, my audience that like me on YouTube may not like me after this. But in this country, you have the right to have your children educated the way you want to. That's old school belief. That is ethically why all older people say, oh, you young people are full of it, because you want us to turn our back on everything that we've come to know as reality and truth and to embrace you, or you're going to feel bad. Okay, go ahead.
It's not about feeling bad. The question is how is he supposed to know you? And what I'm offering is the idea of stepping back from what you think you know and reevaluating reality as is.
I've done a lot of that in the past few years, and that's a good thing to do. But in doing that, I have made a decision not to tell you. Mario is a good example. I asked Mario a question. You guys won't understand it. I said, why didn't you call me and let me know? And he said, because I know Mario. I had to chance it because I know how you are, old man. Right. He knows me. Now, a person that doesn't know me has to get to know me. There's an old song called Getting to Know You, Getting to Know All About You. That takes years. But once the person knows who they are, and we're living in a free society.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please, and speak loud for the mic.
Well, you can only know so much. You know, you can know some stuff about a person. You know, you can know aspects of a person, and even that's not cemented in stone, because a person is like time, forever changing. You know, so you can just have an idea, some kind of idea from a reference in the past about something. But that person, you're not even the same person you were last year. You're a different person this year.
No, you're right about it. And
Um,
that's why no one can trigger me to do anything that is unconscionable for me to do. See what I mean?
So can you accept the fact that you're not the person that you always were, that you have evolved and changed?
Let me tell you what happened. I am the same person. I'm living in a different time. And the environment of the time is what's blowing my mind.
Okay, let me ask you, what are you defining as self?
Whatever the sativa says makes me feel pleasurable.
hey, I want to take you in a place. It's just an exercise. This is just exercise.
I
Okay.
know you. Go ahead.
So here we are.
Here we are.
You feel like this right now, right?
Yeah.
Give me your hand. From the moment I touched your hand, from the very moment, a chemical thing happened from everybody that you touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And when that high go down, it's going to be a new chemical, something going
No,
on.
no. Listen. No.
Wait.
No, I'm not hot.
Wait, no.
He's so
Wait.
good at mine.
I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about
Y'all discuss that I got to go and urinate because, the old man still has a bladder. Keep talking.
man,
This is YouTube Live.
all I'm talking about is for the moment something happens to you,
Mm-hmm.
different thoughts and different feelings come to you.
Yes.
But you didn't feel that before
Right.
because it had not even come your way.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't even know it was going to come. And if you didn't know it was going to come, how can you predict how you're going to feel at that particular time?
Yes. So, and correlates to the topic, what you said, if a person has a expectation or a mindset of what's normal, for example, they say, I should respond like this, I should feel like this, and not evaluate how they really feel.
Because how could they know?
Yeah, you can do yourself a disservice because now you're giving yourself into falsehood because you're saying, I got to perform this way to fulfill my idea of what normal is versus saying, you know what, this is who I really am. This is how I really feel. Let me acknowledge that and let me find what is truly healthy for me as far as responding to what I'm experiencing.
Thank you for being patient, my YouTube audience.
So
I think people's afraid of that, E.
Afraid of what? Repeat that.
So he's talking about how you have different experiences or different thoughts and feelings when you have certain experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying in coagulation to the topic that when it comes to having those moments that a person may try to jump to what they feel like is ideal or normal versus truly evaluating how they really feel about the thing and making a healthy decision from there.
I don't know why, as a grown man, we would think anything other than what we truly 100% are. It would be like if someone came in here and said, are you guys tied in with each other in any kind of way? I wouldn't pause. I wouldn't expect you to pause, nor would I expect you to pause. We would say, yes, we are connected in a very unique way. Yeah. We love each other. That's the connection.
I'll tell you what, I have a friend. Oh, go ahead.
Look, it's not, that's never in question.
Mm-hmm.
But, what I was more like thinking about when I shook your hand, for example, is that every experience you have, even from touching somebody's hand where it's even chemical, like that's how much even interaction is. And that's how important interaction is, even that chemical shit even happens. And after that chemical thing happened to you, are you even the same person? Because now you feel something new. You weren't that before. No, but you're that now
I
at
felt
that
that
moment.
from you before. That's why
But
when
that was before. But actually,
I haven't changed. As a matter of fact, I feel how can I say it?
but wait, before, if you felt that even like as much as a handshake before,
hmm
you were a different age, weren't you? Weren't you a different age?
It
Even
was
if
a different of all the people that I have shaken hands with, or touched, or come in contact with. Each of them has a different aura that they put out, and what
I get what
happens?
you're saying, but what I'm saying is this. When you last shook my hand, for example, let's just use this as an example.
Right.
When you last shook my hand, you were a different age.
Yes.
You were not even you weren't the 79-year-old John Coleman.
Right.
79-year-old John Coleman at this particular time and moment, he's thinking completely different things.
Completely different.
Even as I shake your hand, it's going through a person that's thinking completely different things.
Yes.
And you're feeling completely different ways.
No, what I did is I should have been feeling this way all of my life, but I had latched, as I was telling my audience, I had latched myself into a belief system that someone else had contrived and made up.
I feel
You see, because if you're living someone else's truth and reality, you eventually will end up.
Thomas, you're looking at the big picture, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at the little small, minute.
Hugging
things
Lucy
that
when you first met her versus hugging Lucy closer to her death. The history. all the
Ooh, that's an
experiences.
excellent question.
No, I'm in an example to what he's talking about. A handshake then versus a handshake now.
Yes. Ooh, in this Lucy Coleman studio. Ha! In that space right there. While her spirit was actually getting ready to leave her body, I said, "You are just as beautiful today as you were when I first met you. How are you feeling?" And she went, and smiled, just like when I was with her. That kind of relationship is very unique, because that's the kind of relationship that causes a man to want to raise seed with that female. Now, I'm living in a day and age where they say that a man can adopt a child and have that same feeling with the man. I'm talking about belief and knowledge and everything.
Normalcy too.
Normalcy. What is normalcy? I can say, oh yeah, this is a hot and bothered conversation. Let that air come in there, because see, you got me hot. Hi, folks. Y'all all right there? Yeah, that's better. Now, I am of a mind to believe, I would like to believe that a man can have that with a man, but I am sensitive enough to know that not just cultural restraints, but logic will tell you that it's a different feeling, a different connotation. Go ahead.
Now, can I offer this? You said you used that word belief again.
Yeah.
Is this belief coming from a place of experience or idealism?
That's excellent. Ideal.
So how do you truly know unless you've experienced it?
You can't.
So then your belief may not be valid, and you have to be willing to accept that, right or wrong?
Right, correct. I won't argue that. But why am I content with that belief? See, and that's where older people are. Older people said, okay, I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm content with what I believe, even if it is
So, actually,
crazy.
I think we're very casual the way we speak with one another, right?
Yeah.
And I think about what you asked me. So you said, would he have to accept? Well, actually, a logical person would be like, yeah. But sometimes people are just stubborn and stuck on their old bullshit. Sometimes
That's why I do the sativa, because it keeps me from getting caught up in another person's web.
no, look. Sometimes I'm saying sometimes people know what they're saying is so full of fucking hate, but they'll say, "Look, I know what you're saying, but I don't accept it because I don't have to." You know what I'm saying? There's always that person that oh, I don't have to accept it. Whatever, if it's contrary to whatever they grew up with or whatever they
What's normal to them.
Yes. It happened in a meeting Tuesday night.
It's always that.
There was a Trini there. I get confused.
Trans woman.
A trans woman. Okay, a trans woman. A trans woman was bemoaning the fact that society treats her bad because they don't understand her. And as she was levying her case, I listened to her and I said to myself, I know how she feels. But then I was sitting there and I looked at her and said, wait a minute. I don't like being pressured to have to change the way I feel because of the way you feel. Am I responsible for another person's feeling? You said that earlier. I am not convinced that I should be responsible how another person feels.
No, I'm not saying be
Yes.
I'm not saying be responsible. I'm saying be realistic. If I'm an artist and I want to go perform on the stage one of my songs, I need to be realistic about the crowd's response to my song. Just because I think my song is good and great, that may not be the realistic impact of what I'm doing. So it's not about being responsible for a person's feeling. It's just being realistic about the impact of your intention.
Does the impact matter?
I think it does. If I am trying to create something that's going to stir people up to be positive, to be unified, to want to get along, if my song doesn't do that, then I have to reevaluate what I did, because the value of what I did is approved or disapproved by its impact in that case.
But what did the song mean to you?
The song may mean everything to me. And when I'm making it, like, oh, I love this song. This song's fire. This song's hot. I may think it's an awesome song. But when I have to go out there in a professional environment and submit my work, if my work is not up to par, up to standard of the impact that I want to give, then I have to reevaluate my work. Maybe there's room to grow. And being real is being okay with that versus trying to stay in a place of what's normal or comfortable to me, which is wanting to feel good and wanting to feel empowered about everything I do. Everything that I do is not going to always be perfect, and that's always going to be great. There's going to be room to grow, and being realistic to me is accepting that. If I want to grow my garden, I wanted to make them 7 rows and grow all those different plants in there, right? I may think that I did I dig dirt up, put the rows, put the water, I did everything right, I'm feeling good, but reality is only 2 of my crops grow. That's impact, that's reality. I have an intention, but that's the reality of my impact. Now I have to reevaluate what I did, how I did it, why I did it, so that I can have a better impact in the future.
That's exactly what I did when I dropped out of ministry in 2016 and came out, because I said, I can't grow any further at this rate. I've done everything that I'm supposed to do, only to see people around me crash. So there's something wrong, not with the system that I chose, but with the individuals, the way they deal with reality.
Does it matter though?
I think it matters because in your profession, I think that when you are in a profession where you are designed to influence and impact people, you do have to consider the systems that you're using. If I am going to be working as a climate advocate for a school, and my job is to create a climate where kids are supposed to feel enthusiastic about being educational, it doesn't matter what's happening in their individual lives. I have to get so good and skilled at my work that when they come to school, they feel excited about learning. That's the goal, you know.
I think I've heard you use that phrase for the second or third time.
Mm-hmm.
Third time, to impact people.
Mm-hmm.
Does impacting people really matter?
I think it does.
Why does that matter?
Um, it matters to me because it validates a sense of realism. When I go to see my mom and my grandmother and I say, I love you, if they don't feel that, if they tell me, well, why don't you do, if you love me, like that's just being, to me, that's just being not so self-consumed. I think that it's good to, it's not about having a lack of confidence in oneself for me. It's about being so confident in myself that I'm willing to take constructive criticism and grow where it needs to be. And impact defines that.
So to impact other people,
Mm-hmm.
actually provides inspiration for you. Is that why you want to impact people? Because it gives you a source of inspiration? Or is it solely for them?
It's solely for them. And what encourages me to continue or discontinue what I'm doing to that person is defined by their reaction to what I'm doing.
It's very interesting when I think about that,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so damn involuntary.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm just gonna use a very absurd example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, my cat died,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm miserable because my cat has been my cat for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come with a song,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very happy,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets me more mad when I hear it.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with your song. It has everything to do with my cat dying. And I said, man, I don't want to hear that shit.
Mm-hmm. And I agree.
You know, it's very like,
Yeah,
you know
but
what I'm
look,
saying? Like your intention is like very nice, actually. Like you're trying to like inspire people. But, you know, it's very intrusive because some people don't want that.
yeah, and that's where empathy, interpersonal skills come in, because as I mature and evaluate why you didn't like my song, I'd say, you know what? I may be thinking I'm doing a positive thing, but there's a valid reason to why that probably has triggered him. It's
But
like when I have my friends,
I was
right?
just thinking like, but actually, it's just a song that's positive. This dude's just going through a thing with his cat. It has nothing to do with your song.
Yeah, it's not about my song.
I'm thinking about this thing like impacting people, like even like saying I love you to your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she doesn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she just might want you just to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to say is to impact another. Fuck, it's kind of complicated because
Why can't we do this? Why can't we live in such a way that each of us as individuals are free enough to first express ourselves to ourselves, and then before we express how we feel to others, analyze the others that are around us, analyze as much as you know how what they're going through. He just lost his cat. You just artistically came up with the cat overture that you want to play, okay, which will drive him 20 feet down. You have to think about everything.
That's
Who's in the room? Who's around me? And all of that.
That's what I mean by assessing impact.
And,
Because when you,
I would say assess your environment. Where are you?
well, yeah, that's what you're. That's
If
the
you're in the
stimuli.
South, you can't speak that way around these Southern crackers. You can't, because they just a different mindset altogether, man. And here we are trying to kill each other because we each got these different mindsets. Now, remember what my profession was. My profession was to get everybody, all these differences, get them in a room, and one central person, this Jesus caricature, could change all that for everybody. See, only to come to find out that the religion was flawed. The people that put it together are flawed. I mean, it's and the fight is still going on. So how do we resolve being normal? See, and that's what America's wrestling through right now.
How do we resolve being normal?
How do we resolve being normal without another person come and say, I don't want you being normal around me because it makes me feel abnormal?
Does it matter how they feel?
No, not really.
Then why,
Because you know how many
then why-
humans there are on
then-
this planet?
then why even ask the question?
What? Why even get upset when somebody differs with you? Just let us all live in difference and in peace.
It's a good question.
That's what we're trying to solve here. We ain't
I
just.
don't think there's nothing to solve.
There isn't really.
Because
I almost said shit.
you can say it. I mean, because if somebody feels the way they feel about something, and you're not hurting anybody, what's wrong with them?
This is
You're
what
not
I
hurt-
tell.
You're not hurting anybody.
This is what I tell people that don't want to talk with me anymore since I came out. I'm saying, why can't you love me for who the person I was? You know what I want before I die? I want a day where somebody can put together a banquet for me. We want to celebrate PJ.
Oh, you want a banquet time?
I want a banquet for me. Me sitting at the main
Let's do a
table.
banquet for
I want
you.
people to get
Sounds like
up
a
and
great
say
idea,
what I learned from PJ so I can sit there as an old man and cry and everything. Give me some roses now.
I like that.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Now,
Makes
if
sense.
everybody did that for everybody where we were, there would be no conflict. And we just say, well, that's Emmanuel's art. That's his gift. That's the way he sings. He all right. What? At least he's consistent. Oh, that's Mario. What does that mean? He got another idea. What does that mean? He wants to perfect it. Why can't he do it like other people? Because he's Mario. See, I'm living in the normal now, and I'm getting used to people the way they are. I think it's terrible the way that man stabbed that guy that was dancing in, where was that, New York? Yeah. I think that's terrible that man could not dance and express his joy, and to think about his life fluid running out because you got to look at the guy that did the harm. Is he messed up in his head? Who messed him up?
He got to be messed up.
Somebody messed.
I could be wrong. I don't want to spread false information, but I think he was a young Muslim, which is why he responded that way. So his cultural context,
yes,
disagreed with the cultural context.
Yes,
of
it
the
did.
other guys.
And then when you read,
You know
Holy-
what? I don't agree with that.
oh, go ahead, good.
His
I mean,
cultural context is a Muslim. Muslims aren't appointed to be just murdering people. That goes against their very foundation. To be stabbing people up like that. They're supposed to be holy people. So actually, the Muslims that are violent like that, they're really committing acts of blasphemy against Allah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not supposed
Yes.
to do that.
I'm
It's just, I'll call them like what it is, man. They just being people that be stabbing and killing each other, just some niggas, man.
Yeah.
I got to say it like that. I'm sorry,
I agree with you,
I
but
don't know
even
what
in their,
that shit ain't right.
I agree with you, but I think even in their religious ignorance, they feel validated on what they're doing. The same way Christians will spew hate speech and ostracize their family members who are gay.
Oh, let me
They
respond
may
to
feel
that.
very validated in doing that, don't make it right. But in their religious ignorance, they thought they may be doing the right thing.
Well, look, ignorance is ignorance at the end of the day.
Let me respond to that because that's a very good one. In that meeting that I was in Tuesday night, they're asking the question, why do gay men that are not trans like that, why do they hate the trans, and why do the trans hate the gay guys since they're all homosexual? One older guy said it well. He said it's simple. They don't love one another. He said there are people within our group that are homosexual that cannot stand the other kinds of homosexuals. They can't stand them. And that's why you can't rally around it, because you're saying underneath, I don't like him anyhow. I don't like why he think his ass look better than mine. See, it shouldn't be anything like that. What are you doing that? What are you comparing? That's genes and chromosomes. You had nothing to do with that.
After a while, I start to think it's human, though. I don't even think it's a sexuality thing. After a while, look at this. White people will hate on black people. Black people will hate on white people. Tall people will hate on short people. Short people hate on tall people. Oh, you got black eyes. I don't like you. I got brown eyes.
Right.
You don't like me. Oh, she has blue eyes.
But look at what happened.
It's always something.
Look at what happened. Oppenheimer, this new movie that came out and everything, and I was watching it on my iPad last night, the original films where that guy made the A-bomb. And when the argument came out, the scientists that put the A-bomb together had doubts and were trying to release that to the public, but the government said, no, we're going to bomb Japan.
Uh-huh.
I recall when I first got into junior college, I asked my English teacher, why did this government choose the Japanese people to drop the bomb and obliterate everything they had when Germany was the one that the bomb should have been dropped on? And my English teacher looked at me and said, Mr. Coleman, we can't answer those questions. And I said, yes, we can. I said, but racism wasn't discussed in the 70s when I went there. You just came to an impasse.
There was another thing, too, with Japanese, though,
what?
During that time.
The propaganda that this nation, we called them Japs. We wouldn't even call them Japanese.
There was another thing, too. It was their fighting spirit, I believe.
They followed their emperor.
They don't even, right, and they don't even have to have bullets, and they will charge you with swords and knives and whatever
they crash a plane in you and kill themselves and their mama and everything.
How do you stop somebody like that?
You don't. It's a different value system, but they didn't have to drop the bomb. In this thing that I watched on the internet, they showed about how they were choosing the cities, and they said, we want the city that's going to have, you talking about impact, where the bomb would have the best impact. Now, do you think that was a murderous mental thing about our government? Because they were choosing the city in Japan. They could have chosen smaller cities, but they said no. And they were going to choose the major city where Japan had all of its artifacts and everything. But somebody in government said, no, we don't want to obliterate that. And I watched that thing last night, all in black and white, listening to them to give excuses to kill those people.
I think the whole war was wrong.
That much. Was wow.
The whole war was wrong, but I think that was done just to completely eliminate any doubt in the Japanese mind during World War II or towards the end that they had lost. After you lose a whole city like that, give it up before something else bigger and more important gets
Isn't that interesting? You know what, man? Because now here we are, 3 black men having a discussion. We weren't even around the table.
Yeah.
I wonder what a black person would have said if they had to discover, if they had to add into, well, should we do these people like this? Because
come on, now that's not even a real question. If it was black people that was doing it, that didn't have to answer under white people's rule, there would not even be a war. There would have been a war.
Look what they're doing in Africa.
There would have been no World War II.
Of course, it would not have been. But what do you do about Nigeria now? You look at Nigeria now, where you got them black generals, then kicked the president out and took over the government. And now, what are the other black nations threatening to do within the next couple of weeks? To go into Nigeria and take that government back and make it democratic.
Is Nigeria a French colony?
Who got their freedom from the French?
Let me
look it up. That is the latest thing on the news. And see, we have to deal with this. It's a different way of thinking about these things now.
Because if it is, I'm going to say something, and maybe people might not like it. I'm going to say it anyway.
Well, there's a lot of people that look at this that don't like me. Let me talk to them. I love y'all. I love
Name all
you.
of the French colonies.
Yes. There's a way to solve all the conflict if everybody let everybody do what's normal. Okay, I got a question for you. All right? Let's handle the trans issue right now. Should the government pay all this money for trans bathrooms, showers, facilities, clothing racks, aisles to walk down? Should there be a dance aisle on the major boulevards in every city to make trans people happy? Answer that.
Sorry, Tom. I was looking up this thing. Niger is a French colony.
Yes.
I'm going to say something about French colonies.
Go ahead, say it.
They worship the French. That's why they fucked up.
Yes.
All the French colonies worship France too heavy. They think Paris is the best city in the world. They really do.
It was. Look what they did to Hitler when he stood in front of
Man,
it.
I'm going to call it like it is. France, man, Paris smell like piss.
Yeah, I know you've been there quite a
It
few
smell like pee.
times.
Niggas be peeing
Well,
in the streets.
that is your personal
Observation.
But some people, when they see the Eiffel Tower and they see the lights,
I mean, it's pretty.
they go into Twinkleville.
It's pretty, but I'm just saying.
I've
if
never
you-
been. Have you ever been to Paris? Do you want to go?
I would like to see it for myself.
I could
But I
find
think
you
it's
cheap
interesting.
tickets
I
to
think what's
shit.
interesting is even now we're having a conversation about our differences of perspective. So how do we exist in a reality where that is allowed to flow harmoniously?
Look at
It
now.
can.
Look at now.
Yeah.
Because everybody respects the fact that everybody's a person. You're gonna have your own opinion. That's
Yes.
okay.
Mhm.
That's okay. You don't have to agree with everything.
That is
It's
what
just-
the UN is supposed to be.
Ah.
But the UN ain't working because somebody's lying.
Now this what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
We're not in politics. We're not somewhere where we have to argue for different policies.
Right.
And different policies affect us. So those people, they may feel more strongly about their opinions and people disagreeing with them.
I'm going to bring it home to you. We got 3 black men in this room right now. Light, medium, dark. Now, in a sense, there could be an idealism that one of us is superior to the other two because could be Mario because of his light brown eyes. It could be you because of your, and it shows that hair the way you got it. And it could be me because I'm just, hey, anyhow.
In some cultures, it's because of your age.
This is true. Name the thing that makes a person look at another person and want to be with them. Name the one thing that makes that person want to be with that other person. If it's just a night out at the movies, a kiss, or in bed with a, what is it that happens?
It's always the same thing.
What is it?
The way the person makes you feel. You don't have to know why they make you feel that way, but it's the way they make you feel. You ain't just gonna do it just to do it.
I ain't got
You ain't gonna
no
hold
business
the
drinking
person-
all this. You
you
know
ain't-
what it does? It makes me want to pee this way. That's what it does.
Oh snap!
Well, come on, guys. We got 30 more minutes. You got to wrap this thing up.
Well, that's all it is.
Well, keep talking.
Where are you going?
I have to go and empty my bladder. My audience knows that. PJ is 79 years old, and I've been drinking coffee all morning. What do you expect me to do? I have to get rid of it.
You don't have to finish the whole.
No, you
live
can't
thing.
stop it. You have to see. You have to keep it going.
Man, because we done talked about everything already.
Did we
so-
talk about being normal? Do you feel normal? You went for a job interview not too long ago. Did you feel a sense of normalcy? Or did you feel a sense of frustration because you sense that the person didn't like your person?
Even if they don't like me, I still feel pretty normal. But normal to myself. Some people say I'm quite a abnormal person. But you know what? Everybody's a little abnormal. I really believe that. You know, even if somebody says, "Oh, I'm boring," well, what makes you boring? You know, somebody says, "Oh, I'm strange." Well, what makes you strange? If somebody says, "Okay, I'm just normal," well, what is it about you that makes you normal? And then you can zoom in on somebody's face, and you can point out 4, 5, 6, 7 abnormalities on one person's face.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know what? Then again, what the fuck is normal? Maybe that's exactly the way it should be. Uh, that person's eye is a little bit more above the other eye. Well, that's the fuck how they were made, you know? So maybe he don't look like him, but man, go and take your peek.
Yeah.
But man, that whole conversation, a normal E, come on
Yeah,
now.
I was telling him that I think that normal for a lot of people is an idea, and I'm in a space where I want to move away from living according to my ideas of what things should be versus experiencing what reality is and then making a conscious decision.
Man, I feel that. And then you got to ask yourself, where the hell do you get them ideas from? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where you get them ideas from?
because a lot of ideas could be just what you've been programmed into. It could be someone else's ideas that you done took on, and now you're trying to live that, and that's not true to your soul. So now you're living in falsehood.
Living in falsehood. Now that's another discussion at another time, because most of us are living in falsehood. All right, I don't think that we've adequately defined normal. Look, normal doesn't mean you can do whatever the hell you want to do anytime you want to do it, and the freedom to do that. That's not normal. Most people are enslaved by another person.
I think E-Man explained it pretty good, though.
Yeah, I think what we're calling normal.
Like
what I think we're calling normal is what people are trying to define what is civil. But we use the word normal a lot versus using the word civil, meaning how do we exist in a civilization?
And even that is a controversial term, civil.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's interesting.
It's when I think about what you just said, E, the word normal and words like normal are just concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit concepts too. That only serves as it only serves for having people conform to whatever it is you're trying to push.
So let's use marriage counseling. Marriage counseling is a type of constraint that one person can use over the other when there's an impasse. You see what I mean? We need to go see a counselor. No, why can't they just be normal and work out their indifferences through indifference?
Is that normal? Because that has proven to be dysfunctional.
That's how come I quit my job that I had.
So should we be working towards what is normal or working towards what is functionable?
Hey, wait a minute. My normalcy is functionable for me.
We keep on using that word normal.
We can't.
Is that even real?
We keep falling. Wait a minute. You're right, but what else do we have?
We have other words that's called articulating yourself. We have words like civil. We have words like this feels.
I
like my
ethical.
I just have to speak on it because so much of what we say is conceptual. It's just a concept. But here's the thing about the words con. The con is designed to trick you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's designed to trick you.
The concept, yes, because it's something other than. In other words, you're looking for a compromise. That's what negotiations are all about. That's what ex-President T had to go to Georgia today to surrender his ass, or he would be arrested. See, he had to make a choice. Now, I got to go through this because I'm not bigger than this government or this country. And you notice all of his other lawyers and all of them went and turned their butts in. Now, what is normal? It is normal for you to do that because bad boy, what you going to do when they come for you?
Mhm.
See, we all are normal. If we get a subpoena, we will appear. I've been getting a couple of subpoenas to the courts, and they'll probably look me up. I just tear them up and put them in the trash. I'm 79. I'm not going to be on no jury duty. How many times am I going to have to get up and pee if I'm on the jury wearing a diaper? And I don't even answer that. It is abnormal for me to try to tell them what a 79-year-old man is going through. You get a summons, you're going to appear and you're going to fill out that form, or somebody going to be knocking at your door. See, and so
I mean,
we learn how to comply to normalcy.
But is that
you keep on using the word normalcy.
What if that's actually just being civil or etiquette or ethical? Those are other words that I feel like are more clear than the broadened statement of
even those words are controversial.
Yes, they are.
Because what is ethical, huh?
And what is civil?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what is moral relativity? Why is that relative to the age that I live in today? I find myself going back in past history because I'm looking at the way people thought 100, 200, 300 years ago.
Yeah.
And why did they think? Why did they put so much on marriage today in this country? Economics. It has nothing to do with the union and having children 100 years down the line. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with how much can we accumulate and keep and pass on to our offspring. All right. Philadelphia, in that part of where they're on this dope and they all bent over.
It's fentanyl stuff.
Yes, that is the most abnormal scene I've seen in my life when it comes to drugs. I don't know. I mean,
but
your skin is rotting off of you,
for
man.
somebody that's into drugs, that's quite normal.
There has to be a mental
for somebody. So for somebody that's into drugs, it's normal for them. For somebody that's been hooked on dope for a real long time, shooting up whatever they do, that's normal.
I wish somebody would
see. I think the word normal.
To me
I think the word normal is just it's just a concept actually, and I got you inspired that definitive answer. E. Normal is just a concept.
Now, as controversial as it may be, I think ethical would better define what you're getting at in terms of the Philadelphia drug theory. It's not about it being normal. I think you're battling with the concept of, is it ethical? Is it right? Is that safe to say?
Well, yeah, because the government is just giving them needles. The government isn't doing anything for treatment.
I'll say
towards this
what about
unethical behavior of humans in America's larger cities. I'll put it that way.
I mean, I think Dave Chappelle made a joke about this. It was kind of a hard joke, but it was, a lot of people found it funny. He said he understands how white people felt during the crack epidemic, because right now he sees white people hunched over looking crazy on fentanyl, and he says he doesn't really give a damn neither.
He doesn't give a damn about what?
Well, the point of the joke he's saying is when white people saw all these black and brown people stuck on crack, they didn't care.
True.
So he's saying he now understands how they feel because now he sees them hunched over and he doesn't care about the white people hunched over on the fentanyl and all that bullshit. So he understands how they feel because he doesn't care about them people. It was just a joke. But because obviously there were it was completely a joke because obviously there were a lot of white people that did care when they saw black and brown people, on the crack bullshit. Just like how there's black people that do care about, seeing a bunch of white people stuck on this fentanyl shit. It's sad.
Kept David Chappelle's
it was just a
statement, within the realm of what he does. He's a comedian.
He's a comedian.
Just like the president of that country in Europe that's being bombed the hell out of. He's a comedian too. It's a joke.
Oh, shit.
And it's a joke because this is nothing but a land lease thing done all over again. World War II. Now they gave that country jets, but they need months to train their pilots Oh, and did you see what happened in Russia? Remember that general that did the coup d'etat against Putin?
Yeah.
He was in a jet plane over Russia, and somebody shot the plane down and killed all 9 people on there.
Damn.
They got him. Putin got him.
So I think the bigger question, when it comes to normal is that, are you properly articulating yourself?
And that's what I try to do every day of my life.
Because it is in the ability to articulate, do you find that feeling that you're trying to reach when you idealize what normal is?
I find that when I'm normal and I express it to other people, that I feel more freer and freer. If I want to express something, like I was out Tuesday night and I had a good time, I met this beautiful lesbian lady, just beautiful. And I was talking with her, and she's African American. And I told her about my journey and my story. And she said, "Oh my God, and you lived all those years." And she said, "Look at you." And the person that ran the establishment, I told her how young I am, 79. And she said, "Oh my God, you look like you're 44. Now, I don't know whether she was on sativa, but I really appreciated it. And she kept hugging me. And she said, "It's wonderful that you took care of yourself." Now, guess what I did? I went back to belief, and I said to myself, I only look this way because God loves me and cared for me. Was I right for saying that? I like to think.
Yeah, because that's yours. Nobody can take that from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have somebody say, "Oh no, you're wrong for that." You'll say, "Man, fuck you." That's your belief. That's your system.
And as long as my system ain't hurting nobody else, why are you upset with me?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it was like but that's everybody. I think we generally know that. I think where it becomes more controversial or challenging is when your distaste can affect someone else's system. For example, when we was at the meeting and they didn't get to it, but it could have easily got to the point where they talked about how trans women are allowed to compete in women's sports.
Right.
Now, for some trans women, that may be their normal, their system. They think they're not hurting anyone, but someone may feel very hurt by that. And women who feel like trans women should have their own sports may feel normal and entitled to that reality, whereas trans women feel hurt by that. So how do we reconcile that?
You reconcile it by telling the truth to the trans woman. You are a woman in your mind, and fine, you have a right to be that. And I 100% agree with you to keep you happy. But when you run this race against females in your skeletal system and the way your body functions and works, is superior to a woman in that way, because you have the muscles, the sinews, and all the other things that makes for massive growth and expansion of strength. Whereas a female, all of her strength is in her reproductive nature. And you aren't creating a human being. And so
I want to say something kind of funny.
Go ahead, say it.
Look, if there's any trans people watching this, don't be mad at me. And maybe it's not a nice thing for me to say.
Go ahead. This is America.
But every trans woman wants to be a woman until it's time to fight. Then they want to be a man when it's time to throw hands.
Women be willing to be a man too.
I don't understand.
They buck up to that. The women buck up.
But
too.
you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Wait.
I get what you're saying.
Every trans woman wants to be a woman until it's time to fight. Then they want to be a man.
Oh. Well, they don't know how to fight like women because they're not women.
Women be fighting like niggas these days too.
But you know,
women
you
step
talk
up
to
to
them.
men. I think that okay. So I learned this working at the LGBT system. There's a difference between your biological sex and your gender. So you can biologically, like you're saying, be male or female, but your gender, how you present yourself, can be masculine or feminine.
Mario, you would say, because Mario is not gay, Mario, you would say the main criterion that you love about females is what?
Oh man, I'm real simple with that.
Listen to this.
It's got to be the nature of that person's heart.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how old the person is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's very important the nature of that person's heart. The person can be 21 years old, but when they're like 90, it doesn't matter about their brain and all the shit that's happened, all the impressive things that the person is, but that nature is always going to be that nature.
Doesn't matter if it's feminine or masculine.
Well, that nature for me, when I think about it, it doesn't even have a gender, you know.
Okay.
Because I've met some very masculine dudes, super kind,
Mm-hmm.
super friendly,
Yeah.
super loving.
Yes.
I've met some women, super tough, super strong, like a warrior,
Mm-hmm.
The nature of different people, like even when I think about my nature, I think deep down at heart,
Mm-hmm.
I could be a pretty difficult motherfucker, but I think deep down at heart, man, I want to be happy, and I want other people to be happy too. I just want everybody to be cool. In fact, deep down at heart, I really just be loving everybody. Deep down at heart. So that's my nature.
Now you did something interesting when I asked you about the trans woman
I'm gonna get something to
and
eat.
woman thing, and
Sorry,
that
folks, I'm
was
All right. Thanks, Mario.
thank you.
I'll
That
probably
you
be back.
that you reverted to science. That you use the mental processing of science to differentiate what is wrong or right in that regard. So could it be that thinking scientifically about things is the key for us solving our differences of opinions, our differences of normalcy?
No, not scientifically, humanly. We are humans. All humans respond in different ways, but yet, that's a contradiction. They respond in the same way. All humans like a funny little joke. That's why you look on TikTok and everywhere else, and they're laughing. Yeah, everybody can relate. They can see something, they can relate. But language doesn't have to translate it. We're human. Now, when we talk about love, that's the only thing that can stop us from killing each other. Is our relegating our humanity to the present right now. I met a man the other night. I didn't know what it was about this man. Uh, I wasn't attracted to him physically or anything like that, but I was attracted because you were there. I was attracted to him.
Can you slow down for me? You said we are human,
Yes.
and correct me if I'm wrong, what you mean by that? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Okay, we're human. We're not horses. We're not beavers. We aren't all trying to build a dam to stop the water from coming through. No, we are humans. And being humans, we are having a discussion about what is normal, and we can't even define the word right. And we come into conflict because most of us listen to other humans. That's why we give prizes to certain people for being better humans than other humans, which is a contradiction.
Is that a celebration of value that has been challenged and worked at
by a belief system which is corrupted on power over other humans?
Even outside of that, isn't there just some things that are absolute that we just we know to
Hunger.
be kind?
We need to feed the babies.
Wow.
We got babies dying all over the world of starvation. We're not feeding them, but he just got up and went and got him some food to eat. I didn't see him putting $10 in a bag to send it to Saudi Arabia somewhere. We are humans. And since all these complexities, now this is what I don't like about what happened to our humanness. I call myself normal now because that's the only way that I can define it. My country is supposed to be the country who feeds everybody that's hungry. I swear. I have never been real hungry one day in my entire life. In almost 80 years of living, I've never been hungry in my life. You know what I mean? And to think about babies gasping for food and air and water is repulsive. That's why that athlete during the storm or something took a boat and went and started delivering food and water to all them people in Hawaii because the government wasn't doing anything. People are in need. He understood what being human was about. It wasn't about him being a star and the cameras on him. He just got a boat and just, I have to take water or something. Just like when you remember Katrina.
Right.
People on the rooftop saying, help them.
Right.
Don't be asking if they had the money.
There's an understanding of the values of being human. For example, doing something and doing it from a genuine place versus doing it for an ego validation.
Religion was the thing that messed us up.
But
That's why you got all those denominations, because you got different ways to do one thing, love. Stop that.
But isn't there a solid measurement but no matter where you come from, there's a solid measurement of what you do and the impact behind it.
There can be, to weigh whether you're getting better.
Mm-hmm.
To weigh whether we're getting better. They call this a free state. Santos and the rest of the Southerners that like their states and everything. This state is good because when a woman brings her children here, that kid goes to school. And my daughter told me this because she's a teacher in the system. She says, Daddy, any kid in the LA Unified School District can get a free breakfast before they start their studies.
That's right.
Because the parent can't feed the kid anymore. I was shocked. I said, that is terrible.
They've been giving out meal tickets, though. They've been giving out meal tickets since I was a kid.
That never happened when I was a kid. You didn't get no food from the state or something like that.
Yeah, since I was a kid, they've been giving out food.
And that's why people move here, because this is a more liberal society to live in. And so, what is human? Feed the humans. I said, feed everybody. What you guys view on abortion?
Rebecca Robinson.
Maybe she can answer.
I'm going to ask something of you, all right?
Well, hello there, John Coleman.
Well, hello there. Listen, I am in the middle of a live webcast, and I'd like you to answer the question. Do you feel normal? And what is normal? And why do you feel it?
Well, I'm not sure I can answer that because I think normal is relative, but I'll tell you, I'm full of God's peace. I'm full of the Lord Jesus' peace. And that keeps me operating in a so-called normal fashion for today's culture and society. Succinctly put.
Well, that is excellent, because that's one of the things. That's what the guy said to me here. He says, hey, that's normal to you. You have to live that normalcy. Can I call you back?
Well, yes, I'm in the area, and I thought I might come by for 20 minutes, in about 20 minutes.
Well, come on by.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Now, that's normal for PJ. For somebody to call, come on by. Come in the studio. I may do another live with her. Normal.
I think a big part of normal, for example, is alignment getting in spaces that actually support you, because to an environment that's not very Christian leaning, what she may have said may be very abnormal to them.
But she knew who she was talking to.
Mhm.
And so she felt comfortable to say that she's resting in Jesus. I have one of my friends that would say that. And I told him, you need to talk to me in another language because I don't think I'm reading you right. He's an older man in his 80s. And I said, I asked you how you were doing. I didn't ask you for a review of the Christian religion. I mean, why are you doing that? Why don't you talk to me in the real? Tell me that your damn back is hurt. Tell me that you sick of your wife.
Well, that's what's real to you. That maybe that's what's real to him. Maybe those things may be an aspect of what he's going through, but his stance is that he's doing good in Jesus.
Well, how do you get along honestly with anybody like that? Because I know better.
No, you
I
know
would
you
ask
know.
a man.
Hold on. You don't know better. Hold on. You don't know better. You know a different aspect. Because and the reason why I say not better, different aspect, because if I am truly going through something where my back is truly hurting and I'm not going, is it better for me to complain about it, or is it better for me to find a positive perspective?
Come on, you call a spade a spade.
No, hear me out. Hear me out.
I feel you.
Because I don't believe the Jesus trip. You're
I
using
believe
that as an excuse not to cope with what you have. If I had terrible pain and somebody called me and they said, John, how are you? Oh, man, I'm going through one of the worst days of pain that I've ever experienced, but my spirit is rejoicing, but my body is screwed the hell up.
That's more real.
It's more articulate.
That's
see,
right.
And you're right. See, I've articulated what's going on, and then the person says, "Oh, do you feel like talking?" To tell you the truth, no. You know, I don't feel like talking because you expect this of me, and then that person would say, "Well, don't you have faith? Don't you know how to trust in God? Have you lost your ability to discern what's going on?" I didn't say any of that. You asked me how I was doing. And I told you the truth, and you rejected my truth and tried to make my life work for you.
And then you got to ask yourself, did you ask how I was doing for me or for yourself?
There you go. It was all, see, because you're not being truly human. When you're truly human, you can answer the way it is. It was a scene in that wonderful movie, Apocalypto, where the tribe was being taken over by another tribe, and the mother was going across a river, and the teenage girl had the babies, and she prayed to her God to take care of the babies, and the teenage girl said, "They're ours now. We'll take care of them." And I said, when Mel Gibson wrote that, he wrote the human aspect into it. Older people won't be able to carry on their traditions. The new traditions start. If America would address the fact that we're living in a new environment in America, what you guys think about the buoys that they put up down there near Mexico to keep them people from coming across the border? Did you know that they had razor things on those buoys, and the people were getting caught on the buoys on the Rio Grande River, cutting the people up as they try to bring their babies and themselves here to get a free McDonald's sandwich?
They need to leave the Mexicans alone.
Man, I'm telling you, man. See,
Leave them alone, man.
we have to change our way of thinking about other human beings, or I think there's going to be a great switch up. And not only with this weather patterns, I love the summer. I thought it was going to, wait a minute, my time, we got 7 minutes. How are we going to end it up? Each of you have a closing statement on normal.
Well, what I got from this is that the main task at hand is to negate normal, negate idealism, and take time to reevaluate and find more clear and concise ways to articulate that what you're experiencing.
You know, I know a lot of brothers from my hood that cannot articulate.
They may not be able to find the words, but
They got to communicate.
in them grappling with that, they will discover a solution, I believe. Whether it's something that's, maybe I need to start reading more. But it takes that ability to let go of what's normal and idealistic about it, and really just, deal with it.
This is the way I answer. Man goes to prison for 20 years, 30 years, and he gets out. And then you say, now you're out, George. You're free. You can live a normal life. George will look at you and not know what the hell you just said. Because nobody will hire him. He doesn't know how to work any of the electronic devices. Nobody wants to trust him around their material things. George is in a deeper prison when he got out of prison than he was when he was there. And they've done nothing to rehabilitate him, to get him ready for what we call normalcy. That's my take on it. Mario, you would say quickly?
Yep, I'll just make it short. I think normal is just a concept, as I said before. So it's actually a bullshit term. It don't really mean nothing. Normal. Everybody will ask, what is normal?
No.
It don't mean nothing.
Since you guys have heard this discussion, and we're glad that we could have it, thank you. You can tune in later and put your comments down.
What is normal to you?
Yeah, what is normal to you? Yeah, that would be a good thing to put down. What is normal to you? Because, see, what's normal to me is...
You should make that your title.
This is normal to me. This is my medicine. This is my medicine. Mm-hmm.
I'm finna head to the gym because that's my normal right now.
Blow some smoke in the camera, time.
Thank you for tuning in to the cast. We'll see you guys later. All right.